Okay, sorry, I was having a bit of technical difficulty, getting this thing to work. Um, anyways, uh, this video is going to be a little more personal for me. Basically, I just graduated from high school, and I'm looking for a job, and unlike most people who graduate from high school, I've been really looking for a job, and I'm fairly qualified, so I've been doing some interviews, but nothing's going anywhere. And for me, saving money is no problem. Making ends meet, not a problem. I just don't have a job to earn the money to make ends meet. So this is not my room. It's my room, but it's not in my house. You see, um, but you know, it'll get better. Anyways, the reason I'm talking to you about this is because in this modern age, whether people realize it or not, um, and I'm going to try and present this as a layperson to a layperson. There's this thing called fuzzy logic, and this is, there's no good, there's no ultimate good or bad. There's just degrees of truth to whatever we do. It might be true that rape is wrong. Totally true. I hate this fight. I'm sorry. It doesn't. You can't see me if it's not on. Anyways, you can't dispute some truth in this world, but there is no true good or evil because good can have bad intentions, and you just go on and on. So it's all fuzzy and it's all morally gray. You can never really tell, but there's always a degree of truth to something. This is truly evil or this is truly good. Whatever. Um, you get what I'm saying. It's all fuzzy and it's all confused. Well, I was walking down the street today, and as I don't have a job, I'm forced to take compassion that other people show me. I'm forced to live off of this compassion. If they have a job that I can do and they offer it to me, I take it, and I do that job. So I was walking some like a neighbor's pets, and this person had went on a trip with their family, and I was looking after her animals, some dogs, cat, rabbit, whatever. Um, and I was walking down the street, and this neighbor, I don't know who he was, pulls out with a minivan, drives off, and I'm walking this dog, and I come back up this street from the cul-de-sac, and from where he pulled out, I was like, maybe he's going somewhere, but he had pulled back and came back down to the end of that street where I was going, where the person's house was, whose pets I was looking after, and just sat there, and just staring at me, and it's one of those things where it's like intimidation, because I'm young, I'm going into someone else's house, it probably looks a little suspicious, um, so it was like intimidation factor. And it didn't feel nice. It didn't feel nice because I knew they were watching me. They knew they were watching me. They're sending a clear message, don't screw around. And it's like, I live here. Yeah, I'd totally break into one of my friend's houses. It makes sense. Not really. But, so, I go in, I get the other dog, and I start walking him. And the minivan's gone, of course. And I'm walking, and I'm thinking, I'm looking up at this sky, and there's these planes that go overhead, where I live. It's a pretty industrial area, not really, but there's a lot of people that live around. So you see planes a lot. And I'm hearing planes, and I look up, and I see the plane, and it's a one-engine propeller-driven civilian aircraft, you know, because I like airplanes, I study that stuff, but And I hear another one, and it's a jumbo jet, and it's a giant airliner flying way up in the sky. I look up, I don't see either of them, but it's just a beautiful day. I'm walking this dog, and I really, I start to feel bored, you know, because here I am, walking this dog, letting it poop. I'm pretty much being led around by a dog because I have no money, and I need money. And, it's like the world goes around according to money. And I'm sitting here thinking of things like Hurricane Irene and the earthquake that happened on the East Coast, and I'm thinking about Obama and all these bad things that are happening, like the war in Afghanistan and everything else. And, of course, people in Afghanistan wouldn't even have this. Even a shirt would be a luxury. Glasses would be unheard of, unless they were like 30 years old and didn't work. But, it's just, I'm thinking about this stuff and I'm thinking, when is it going to end? You know, it's to a point where I walk down the street in my own neighborhood and no one says, hey, you know, I mean, a few people do, um, but it has to be like, the dog runs in the yard and I have to go in the yard to get the dog, and they're there, and they grab the dog for me, and they say, oh, hey, you know, then they say, hey. Otherwise, it's nothing, and there's no common decency in it. And there is a point to this video, aside from me just talking about my day, and, you know, and this fuzzy logic thing. And that is UTPA. And I haven't talked about it in a while, but here I am talking about it again. United through Positive Action. Now, if you were this guy in the minivan that I was talking about earlier, you just so nonchalantly, wrote me off as a ruffian or a gangster or whatever. I mean, yeah, sure, my clothes have some holes in it and stuff, but, don't write me off as a gangster. I mean, clearly, gangsters don't really have beards that much unless they have explosives. And then they have really big beards, so, sorry. So, yeah, um, if you were this person, would you have chosen to do this? I mean, most people would. You don't even think about it. My own mother does that. I do that. Or would you do something nice? Would you do something like just sit in a minivan and stare at somebody you don't like? It looks weird. Or would you go over and offer to help? Say hello? Whatever, It doesn't have to be anything. You just say, hey. I mean, because in my day, that made all the difference. I mean, I don't like having people watch me like that. People complain about the government watching people, Big Brother is watching and all of that stuff. The government's so huge, they're monitoring our cell phones, the internet, whatever. And it's like, what about people, They're just sitting there watching you. It's like, no one's doing anything good anymore. And it just doesn't make sense to me that we would complain. And, here I am, this guy with the holes in his shirt, and, I'm being forced to do things that I wouldn't normally do to help other people and to earn money. And no one's helping me aside from these offhand jobs, and people are treating me like I'm a criminal. And it doesn't feel good, It really doesn't. And this United through Positive Action is something that just flies in the face of that. It says, no, I'm not just going to write you off as a criminal. Even if you look like a criminal, even if you are acting like a criminal, no, I will not write you off as a criminal. I will go the extra mile and be kind. I will be compassionate. And I will not just give you a job, but I will help you. You know, whatever you need, you know, if you need a car, whatever, I will help you do that. You know, that's one thing that church often does, but there are a lot of people in church that don't do that. And I've gotten in a habit of recording long videos, so I'm going to cut it, you know, right now and just wrap it up and say, um, uniting through positive action doesn't have to be anything big. It can just be some guy in your neighborhood that looks like a gangster, you know, some guy you probably write off as a drug dealer, or, you know, a drug runner. You know, take a second and look at this guy. Drive by, on purpose, just, hey, or walk out and say, hey, whatever. You know, you don't have to be intimidated. You just say, hey. You never know when that makes the biggest difference in someone's lives. I mean, yeah, they might be a drug runner, but what if they don't like it? What if they're forced to do that because they don't have money? What if they're poor? What if they have no home? What if they don't have a room like this? And just you saying, hey, just brightens their day. Because not all people who are bad want to be bad. So, doing something good for them never hurts. Never hurts. Anyway, that's what I had to say today, you know, 5 minutes after my last video. Um, you know, comment, whatever. You had a good day, bad day, post a comment, I'll read it. You know, I usually do. Anyways, I hope you guys have nice evenings, and I'll see you next time.